The banks in traditional finance are absolutely terrified of crypto. In this LinkedIn post, Swift CIO roast XRP and Ripple. In this X post posted by Spade, you will see the CIO officer at Swift roasting XRP. Basically saying that surviving lawsuits isn't resilience. Neutral shared governance is. Institutions don't want to live on competitor rails, and compliance isn't about one company convincing regulators it should be allowed to operate. It's about an entire industry agreeing on shared standards that no single balance sheet controls. The last time I checked, traditional finance controls everything. You are forced to use banks. You're forced to deposit your money into banks, and traditional finance takes your money and then they invest in whatever they want. You have no say and they control everything. And that's exactly why banks, traditional finance, hedge fund, and everything else is absolutely terrified of crypto, primarily Ripple. And again, I've got my own opinions about Ripple. I think that they are a great competitor to the banks, but at the end of the day, they should be allowed to operate. They should be allowed to have their ecosystem with RLUSD and XRP, XRPL, and anything else. And the only reason why they were sued, which unjustly sued, is because they were too early, which is not a bad thing. They created this ecosystem that was kind of in between crypto and traditional finance. Traditional finance 100% saw this as a threat because it's always been rumored that Ripple is going to be a direct competitor of Swift for cross-border payments and everything else. So of course, they were sued because that's what public servants and unelected bureaucrats do. They go after people that impact their bottom line, primarily with banking. And they had no choice to fight back. They wanted to establish clear guidelines in the US so that they can operate. And the fact that this person, the CIO from Swift, is giving Ripple a hard time about having to battle it out in court is absolutely ridiculous. And it's very unfortunate that laws have to be created from court cases, case precedent, legal precedent. And the kicker for me is how the Swift CIO talked about public blockchain serving as foundational tech, but require added trust, which again, with a public blockchain, you don't need trust. You verify. We don't trust, we verify. Compliance, well, there wasn't any type of regulatory framework or compliance or any direction for these companies to go, so they would get sued. And also for widespread adoption by banks and financial institutions, yeah, we know. We need some sort of guidance as to what these crypto companies can and can't do. But at the end of the day, the banks have this guidance, crypto doesn't. And the reason why crypto doesn't have this guidance is because the banks are terrified in companies like Swift, because it impacts their bottom line. And yes, surviving lawsuits does classify as resilience to me. Again, Ripple had to go into court unjustly because the legal system did not want to give them any guidelines. The people that were in charge of giving them guidelines, the SEC, refused to do so. Regulatory guidance by enforcement. I think that's what it's called. I'm hungry. But they also said institutions don't want to live on competitors' rails. Yeah, they don't. They want to be able to operate in their own world where they control everything, including the bottom line. And again, when we're talking about compliance, when there's no laws put in place because it's a brand new industry, you need to go in, you have to talk, you have to communicate, you do have to compromise on things. Ripple didn't do anything wrong. Our system let entrepreneurs down. And yeah, get mad at me all you want, but I do want to see competition and I do want to be able to have a choice of what I do or who I trust my money with. Well, you guys know what I mean, not trust. But anyways, another story of a traditional financial entity getting mad at crypto because it impacts their bottom line. And again, shout out to the XRP army.